Hi friends, welcome to class 8 physics. I'll be handling your physics classes. My name is Arun. Okay, so here in 8th standard, you are moving into the theoretical part of physics. Till now you have been studying science, etc. and all the small portions, and you are entering into the theoretical portions of physics. Okay, which will play a huge role in your later classes. So if when you are going to study the physics in higher classes, these classes will help you to understand more. So this will be the foundation stone for your higher classes. So you have to understand all the theories in detail and make it into your mind so that it helps you for your higher class studies. Clear? So in this year we'll be having 6 chapters. Okay, so they are force and pressure. The first chapter is force and pressure, then friction, then sound, chapter sound, then light, stars and the solar system, and some natural phenomena. Okay, so these are the chapters which you have to study in this 8th standard. So today we will be discussing the first chapter of physics, that is force and pressure. So some of you may have heard about force and some of you may have heard about pressure, the terms. So for some it may be a new term, but the idea behind these two terms are not at all new. That we will understand when you are going into this chapter, when you are studying, when you are discussing the chapter in detail, you will be understanding that the force and pressure are always with us. We are always exerting force. We are always applying pressure. But we are not knowing that those are pressures, those are forces, those are pressure. Clear? So we will be discussing the phenomena behind force, the phenomena behind pressure, where we are dealing with these terms in our day-to-day life, etc. We will be discussing. Okay. So imagine that a cricket player, means a cricket match is going on. Okay. So whenever a bowler is bowling, the ball comes into the player, into the batsman. So what the batsman does, he will be hitting the ball with the bat towards the boundary line. Isn't it? Okay. So whenever the batsman is hitting the ball, that point of hitting the ball, the batsman is applying what? He is pushing the ball towards the boundary. He is pushing the ball towards the boundary, isn't it? So that push can be called as what? Force. So force can be a push. Okay, now I want to change the table from this position. This table I want to change it from this position to some other position. So what I'll do? I'll be pulling it or I'll be pushing it. So whenever I am pushing or whenever I am pulling any object, or whenever I am doing a push or a pull, what I'll say? I'll say that in physics, we'll say this push or a pull as force. Okay, so force is not a new term at all, because we are in day-to-day life, what all we are doing? We are taking the book, we are opening the book, we are applying force on the book, we are opening it, we are taking and carrying the bag, we are holding the bag upside and we are carrying it. So we are applying a force. Okay, we are breaking a coconut into 2 pieces. We are applying force. We are dealing with a lot of incidents where we are applying force in our day-to-day life. And you may have a lot of examples also. You may have found out a lot of examples on the day-to-day experiences or examples where we are applying force. Listen. Okay, so the force means it is a push or a pull. Okay, a push or a pull, or we can say both. We can even push, pull, or both pushing and pulling together is called what? Force. Okay, and the important thing which we need to understand when we are studying force is that we cannot see force. But what we can understand, but what what is happening? We cannot see force, but we can only feel the effect of force. We can only feel the effect of force. Okay, the force cannot be seen by a naked eyes, but the effect can be seen. Okay, we can feel or observe. We can only observe or feel the effect of force. For example, wind. Are we able to see wind? We are not able to see wind, but when the wind hits our face, we have a feeling that wind is going through, wind is blowing. Isn't it? And if a wind is coming and it will take away all the materials around us and surrounding and it will move. So when we see that, when we observe that the particles around us is moving, we understand that there is wind, isn't it? But we cannot see wind, but we can feel or observe the effect of wind. We can feel or observe the effect of wind, isn't it? So, likewise, force also, we cannot see by a naked eyes, but what we can see or what we can understand, we can feel or observe the effect of force. Clear? So, these are the two important things which we need to understand when we are discussing force. Force is a push or a pull. Forces a push or a pull, and we cannot see force with our naked eyes, but what we can understand, we can feel or observe the effect of force. Clear? Okay, so this is the introduction and this is the definition of force. Force is a push or a pull or both, and we cannot see force, but we can observe or feel the effect of force. Clear? Okay. So, the force can be experienced when we are switching on the bulb. We want to on our fan at our house. What we'll do? We'll press the switch. We'll on the switch, isn't it? When we are pressing the switch, we are applying what? Force. While we are moving for a shopping, we'll be having a trolley in our hand and we'll be pushing the trolley by carrying the goods, our materials, the things which we have bought. So that pushing is again, we are applying what? We are applying force. In music, when we are playing music instruments like guitar, like violin, etc., what we will do? We are applying force on the string. That force is making, is producing the sound, and that's how we are able to see. Means what? We are able to hear the music. Isn't it? So, these are some of the examples, and you can find out your own examples for what? The force in our day-to-day life, where we are applying force in our day-to-day life. Clear? Now, I have told you we cannot see force, but the effect of force can be felt or observed. So, we have to understand the effects of force. We have to understand the effects of force. We have to understand the effects of force. So, what are the effects of force? The effects of force can be, that means, whenever a force is applied, there will be some changes. Isn't it? Whenever a force is applied, there will be some changes happening. The application of force. For example, I want to I am pushing this duster from here to here. I have applied force on the duster. So, listen, at first it was here, and when I pushed the duster, what happened? The position of the duster from this position, it changed to this position. So, there is a change in position. So, whenever the force is applied, there is a change in position, and sometimes there will be a change in position, and sometimes there will be a change in shape, and sometimes there will be a change in the speed of the object. Okay, sometimes it may come to rest. We will stop the object from motion to rest. Okay, so the effect of force will be always dealing with some changes. These changes will help us to feel or observe, these changes will help us to feel or observe the effect of force. That means the force itself. We cannot see force with the naked eye. So how we are able to visualize or how we are able to understand the force has been applied? Using these effects of forces or using these changes. Clear? So mainly we are having 5 changes. 5 changes. So changes, that means that due to the application of force, changes the shape temporarily. Changes the shape temporarily. Then changes the shape permanently. Changes the shape temporarily, changes the shape permanently. Now, changes the direction of motion. Changes the direction of motion. This is the first one, second one, third one. Now, changes the direction of motion. Fourth one, changes the speed. Changes the speed of moving object. Changes the speed of moving object. And the last change stops a moving object. So note it down. These are the important changes which will happen, which can happen whenever the force is applied. Which are they? They are the change. The shape is temporarily changed. Shape is temporarily changed. The shape is permanently changed. Clear? Now, the shape, the direction of motion is changed. The direction of motion is changed. The speed of the moving object is changed. And the moving object is brought to rest, or it is brought to a stop. Okay, so these are the changes that I give you the examples of each change. Okay, so the first change, what is it? Shape temporarily. So you take a rubber band. Take out the rubber band and you elaborate it. So when you take the rubber band and stretch it, what will happen? The change of the rubber band, the shape of the rubber band changes. And when you release it, it will come back to the initial position. So the change, the shape, the change of the shape is temporary for the rubber band. When we are applying force, when we are pulling it, the shape changes temporarily, and when we release it, it will come to the normal position. So the change is temporary when we apply force. A sponge, if we press the sponge, we are applying force, and when we release it, the sponge will come back to its initial position. So that's the first one, changes the shape temporarily. Okay, now the next one is changes the shape permanently. If you take a paper and if you tear it, don't do it, but for example, if you tear a paper, we are applying force and we are tearing it, but after when it is teared, what will happen? The shape has changed. When we apply force, the shape has changed permanently. We cannot make it into the original, the original first shape. We cannot make it into the original shape after tearing the paper. And if we hold the glass like this and if we drop it, the glass will break into pieces. It will shatter, isn't it? So that also we cannot bring it back into the original shape. So application of force will change the shape permanently. Okay, now changes the direction of motion. All of you, most of you might have played badminton. It's a shuttle. So whenever the cork is coming towards you, what you will do? You will kick it to the other end. So whenever the cork was moving towards you, the direction of motion was towards you, but with the racket you will hit it towards the other end of the net, towards your opponent. So what will happen? That means you are changing the motion of the shuttlecock, isn't it? So by the application of force using the racket, you are changing the direction of motion of the object. So whenever we apply force, there will be change in direction of motion. The same thing is happening in the case of the cricket. Whenever the ball is coming towards the batsman. And what will the batsman do? He will hit it with the bat. And the ball will go towards the boundary or towards the fielder. Isn't it? So the direction of motion of the ball is being reversed. It's being changed by the application of force by the batsman. Okay, so that is that case. Now what is it? Now the speed of the moving object. Okay, so whenever in case of football, the penalty kick is taken by the player. The player is going to take the penalty kick. The ball is at rest. It's not moving, isn't it? So the speed is 0. So when the player kicks the ball, what will happen? When the player kicks the ball will gain speed and it will move with a high speed towards the goalkeeper or towards the goal post. Isn't it? So the application of force, the kicking of the player is the application of force. The player applies force on the ball will move at a high speed towards the goal post. So the speed of the moving object is being changed. Or whenever a ball is moving with a small speed, the player will, in the hockey, the ball is moving with a small speed, the player will hit it at a high speed so that it moves at a higher speed. So that speed of the object can be changed by the application of force. Okay, and at last, the moving object is brought to a rest, or it is stopped. Whenever the goalkeeper, the same example of the penalty kick, the player has kicked it, it is moving towards the goalkeeper, so the goalkeeper will try to stop it. And if he is able to stop the ball, he is applying force on the ball and thus he is stopping it. In cricket, whenever the player is taking a catch, what is happening? The moving ball is coming and resting into the hands of the player. Isn't it? That means the ball is being stopped by applying force by the player. The player is applying force on the ball and that's how the ball is stopped. So the moving object can be stopped by the application of force. So don't feel sad that we cannot see force. It's true, we cannot see force, but how can we understand the force is applied? We can understand the force is applied whenever we see a change in shape temporarily, whenever we see a change in shape permanently, whenever we see a change in the direction of motion, whenever we see the speed, the change in speed of a moving object, and whenever we see a moving object coming to rest or coming to a stop. So these are the effects of force. These are the cases through which we can understand that the force is applied. Clear? So what is force? It's a push or a pull. We cannot see force with the naked eye. It can only be understood or felt or observed through the effects of force. And these are the different effects of force. I hope it's clear to you. So find out a lot of examples of forces which you are applying in your day-to-day life. Okay, so study your lessons very thoroughly. Thank you.